All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 16th day of July, 2019. Well, third time's the charm, as my mother used to say. This is the third time I've attempted this in this, of course, we're in Mercury retrograde, so another couple of weeks, so there may be a series of videos I just have to delete. It's like, okay, I'm not going to resolve that one. I'm not going to resolve that one. And anyhow, we'll see if we can't get this one to work for us today. Make sure everything comes out of the mouth properly instead of all jumbled. Anyway, we have a 7 energy today with the 16th. 6 and 1 is 7, so we're going to be balancing all kinds of stuff. Typically, it's shadow side of self with spirit. It's also a number for magic and divinity. Basically, you can think of it in terms of inner balance. Everything that's, threatened right now with Mercury having its way with us. So, anyhow, another couple weeks, and then it'll be over. This is your first time here. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. I'd love you to click subscribe and join our Tarot and Rune family as we explore the interpretations of tarot and runes and how they can affect our lives and maybe teach us something we don't know about ourselves and about the world around us and about each other. Well, yesterday, let me find my book here. Okay. Yesterday we had the Knight of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, the Hierophant, is that a 4 of, no, that's an 8 of Cups. That's an 8, I think. Yeah, because they were walking away. So yeah, that's the 8 of Cups. Oh, come on, let go. Yeah, 8 of Cups. We had Manaz was the Elder Futhark rune, and Laetitia was the Geomancy rune. So I think that basically what yesterday was talking about was about, it had to do with physical concerns, first of all, starting with 2 cards from Pentacles. And given that they were from the court, we're basically talking about how we're managing, our personal lives, or the mundane aspects of our lives. But but the 8 of Cups was denoting some change that was taking place emotionally, that we were maybe letting go of things that no longer served. So it could be that maybe our perspective, maybe our emotions were getting in the way of whatever we needed to do to take care of our needs. Manaz was about the individual in society and how we relate to one another. And so clearly, vis-a-vis the mundane aspects of life, we could also look at relationships as being part of that. However, we ended in joy. So whatever decision that we made to walk away in the 8 of Cups, to walk away from things that no longer serve us, it had to be in the direction of creating more joy in our lives and harmony. So again, we continue the theme that we've been having here this year of, well, it's a 3 years, so we're going to manifest the illumination we had from the 11 year, the year before. That was an 11 energy. So master number for illumination and enlightenment and all of that. We were learning things, weren't we? And then now this year we're trying to figure out, okay, we've learned some things. What are we going to do about it? And we seem to be moving again in the direction of unity with one another and rejecting the isms that seem to be plaguing some of us, at least. We haven't really understood yet that when we see someone as the other, we're actually seeing the other side of self. And so no reason to fear, no reason to worry, no reason to think that there's somebody that we need to, stay away from necessarily. I mean, criminals, sure, but other than that, no. And we certainly don't need to fear little babies on the border trying to find a better life with their families, They just want them to be safe, right? So you'll find if you go to the blog Stepping Aside over at imsteppingaside.com, what I did yesterday is I published a bind rune, It's basically about remembrance. I don't know what I did with it. It must be over there, so I won't go get it. But basically, it's about remembrance of who we are together. And I did it as an offering for the maiden moon last night. So if you saw that, then hopefully you took that either idea or that bind rune and you cast the intention for unified consciousness, remembering who we actually are to one another. So that's over there at imsteppingaside.com if you want to check that out. Today is, however, the full moon, so Mother Moon. If you think of them in terms of Maiden, Mother, and Crone. Maiden was beautiful last night, though. It really was. So I expect tonight will be as well. I got a great picture of it. So we'll get out tonight and draw down some lunar energy, some goddess presence into our lives, and then we will, and then tomorrow, see, with the Crone moon, to me, that's when the real work begins. But that's just because I'm a crone. So anyhow, perhaps you're bringing your intentions set on the new moon into fruition tonight. Whatever you're doing, remember to bless others in the process. Let's draw our first card for today. Well, we have the Six of Pentacles, so we're going to continue our theme of the physical life, of practical matters, of mundane issues. But here we have an expression of shared abundance. We've been seeing this card quite a bit lately. I think that basically because what we have here is we have someone of means. We'll just talk about the card first. We have someone with means who has too much, and he's just trying to offer some to those less fortunate. But you know, shared abundance, and we've talked about this as well. Part of part of the earth element and pentacles, because pentacles represents the earth element. Part of that, of course, is finances and it's home life and whatever. But it's also us within it and how we move about in our lives. And in this case, our own abundance we want to share with someone else. Now, it doesn't have to be money, though. It could be our time, it could be our skills. Maybe a neighbor needs some assistance with something and you have a tool that might help, or you have some knowledge that might help. Maybe some family members are in need of a little bit of help and you can help them with something, help with a project or something like that. Maybe it's just about the assistance you can give when someone is hurting and they need a friend. These are just the everyday things that we engage in is governed by the earth element and by the suit of pentacles. So when we think about the six, we think about higher self energies. We think about being aware of the greater aspect of self within all of that, that you're not simply alone in the world and that you can have a positive effect. And in the case of the Six of Pentacles, that's exactly what he's doing. He's just trying to have a positive effect in someone else's life. And this is the most immediate way he can do it. He's bringing things into balance. The scales are being held by him in his left hand. And so that's a receptive presence, and that's the side of balance. That's the side of bringing things into balance. And in a sense, the scales are representing a seventh pentacle, aren't they? If you were to substitute a pentacle there for the scales that he's holding. Let's do another card. And for those of you who've been here before and you're back, thank you so much for coming back. As you all know, I take the 13th card because I want this to be random, and I'll usually draw 3 or 4 cards, no more than 4. And then I'll do a rune from the Elder Futhark. I'll pull one of those out of the bag, and then I'll create a geomancy rune. It's just sort of an overall, tying everything together. Well, again, here we have the Magician. And we've been pulling the Magician a lot lately. Again, about manifestation. Card 1 of the Major Arcana, it's a soul archetype card. We see him expressing as above, so below, with one arm, with his right arm pointing to spirit, the scroll of knowledge there. We see the lemnis gate above his head, suggesting eternity and the eternal process of manifestation. We see his 4 tools on the table there. We see the pentacles for earth, the cup for water. We see the sword for air and the wand for fire. All elements in balance, all elements available to him. You see abundance on the ground there with roses and lilies, purity of the moment. It really does describe shared abundance, doesn't it? You know, when you're doing a random act of kindness, just, I've said this before, just go to the grocery store. Let somebody go ahead of you. You know, if somebody's trying to reach for something that they can't, they're struggling with, reach up there and get it for them. Just do something. Do something for someone else that doesn't cost you a thing, but can be just something that's just some positive energy, a positive energetic exchange with someone else that you don't have to do, that you just feel like making somebody else's life a little bit easier in that moment. It's profound. The Magician's about the alchemical manifestation of who we are. The Fool begins the journey with the undeveloped potential, you know, leaping into the abyss where the Magician does his work, you know, creating and manifesting. The High Priestess finally sends it on down into below, into the abyss below there. She finally sends it into that. And together, they make everything ready for the Empress to give birth to the world. So it appeared then, in fact, why don't we put the Magician before the 6 of Pentacles? And that's another thing I do is I move cards around. You know, if you're doing a reading, it's your reading. Move your cards around, make it make sense. Let's do another card. More pentacles. So our our life, our home life, our wealth, our security, something about all of that is in play, has been in play both days this week. Who we are, maybe. This is a lovely card. This is a woman of means in the 9 of Pentacles. 9 is about completion. She's got her falcon there on her glove, on her left hand. That's significant because a falcon is strong. It's a predatory bird, but she has it in her left hand, in her receptive hand. So there's trust there, isn't there? You see, are they strawberries or are they bees? Let me look on with a magnifying glass on her. No, they look, I don't know if they're strawberries. They might be strawberries, although they're not red, although it's just outlined. I'm not sure what they are actually. On her dress, on her gown, on her robe. She's surrounded by fertility and wealth. It basically denotes a secure life. So maybe what this is talking about today then is manifesting security. How are we going to do that? Six, 7. So 7 is the energy. Yes, there's 7. No. Yeah. 9 and 6 is what? 9, 10, 15, 16. So 6 and 7. It's fun when you add in your head, isn't it? Yeah, so we have a 7 energy, which mirrors today, is in synchronicity with today. So we're going to stop and not do a 4th card. Let's do a rune. We'll just let them fall through my fingers, and when one ends up in my hand, that's the rune. That's how I do my bind runes too. I set the intention and just, let that happen. They never fail me. Hagalas, the 10th rune of the Elder Futhark. I'm sorry, the 9th rune of the Elder Futhark. Not the 10th. So again, aligning with the 9 of Pentacles, maybe. Although Hagalas is about destruction in preparation for change, or destruction within a fixed framework. So that would actually align them with the Magician. So something has happened. Let's do it this way. Apparently my candles are overtaking the air conditioning. All right. Now, so we have a 7 energy, so that's for magic, right? We have a 9 energy with Hagalas. We're going to put that down then with the Magician, because we're going to manifest something new. We're going to manifest something that's different in our lives. Perhaps we have let's put the 9 of Pentacles before the 6. Okay, we have a settled life. In fact, let's put it first. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. This feels right. We're going to start out with the 9 of Pentacles. We have a settled life. All right. Where did my thing go? There it is. All right. We have a settled life. Then Hagalas comes into play. The witch shows up because it's known as the witch rune, and just, changes everything, causes everything to be a little bit more disruptive. We start reevaluating the security that we have. Is it generous? Is it at the expense of others? I think that this has to do with the migrant situation at the border and who we are. There was some interesting and disgusting racist comments from the guy in the Oval Office that people are coming out, they're all just up in arms about that, and rightly so. We have the Republicans, very few have come out to denounce this. I keep waiting for my congressman, my local congressman from my area, to do it. I've not seen it yet. I tweeted to him and said, hey, you better be the first. I don't think he was. I don't even think he's done it, but I don't know. I'm going to look. But maybe who we are needs some shaking up. If we are not able to welcome someone else who does not look like us, who's not the same skin color, to think that United States of America is a white country. Well, yeah, there's a lot of white people here, a lot of Caucasian people here. There's also a lot of people of color here. It's kind of the point of it, right? That's what we are, the United States of America, where everybody comes. Remember the melting pot? Remember that? And now all of a sudden, no? Well, I didn't agree to that. I want to be the melting pot, right? So here we have then the chance over this full moon to cast the intention of unity, right? And with Hagalas, that's what it's saying. That was the point of doing the bind rune yesterday, for remembrance of who we are to one another, right? So here we then have the Magician who says, well, then let's just change everything. Let's manifest a new experience. Let's bring things back into some kind of balance between all of us, to where then we can go forward together in shared purpose. I don't know. I don't know how hate is driving the day now. I don't know how the isms are winning. So let's not let them, okay? Let's not let them win. We can have the settled life that we want, and many of us do. Things are going well, there's not really anything to worry about. But that's not all there is in this world. There's a lot of people out there that live in such fear. The migrants that are coming northward, these are people that are terrified of their lives. They're just looking for something better for them, for themselves and their children. That's all they're doing. To make any. Oh, and that's the other thing that I've been reading. Been reading a lot of comments by people of color, Americans of color, who have been told as children, go back to the country you came from. You're not wanted. How dare we do that to a child? Congresswoman AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she came out and told everyone in a press conference yesterday, told the children, you matter. You belong here. This is your country, and no one has any right to tell you differently, make you feel like you don't belong here. We need a little Hagalaz today, don't we? Let's see what the geomancy rune has given us. We're going to put this in the order of air, fire, water, and earth. Oh, well, I don't even need to. It's Vaya. Well, I will, though. Vaya is a series of single dots. Its opposite is populous. And I will show you what it looks like. The single dots in geomancy indicate an active principle. The dual dots, the two dots, indicate a passive principle or energy. And Vaya is about charting our own path, setting our own course. Populous means you kind of go along with the crowd. But Vaya, a series of 4 single dots, we have our will active, we have our intellect active, we have our emotions active, and we have our physical presence, our grounding, our foundation active. And we want that to be going out and charting our own course and deciding our own path. It aligns perfectly with Hagalaz. It aligns, I don't know why my spreadsheet just came up. Weird things pop up. Mercury retrograde, I don't know. Anyhow. But Vaya paired with Hagalaz, as I was saying, allows us to reconsider who we are, reconsider the path of our life. And maybe it's telling us now it's time to manifest something different. If we've gotten stuck in a particular mindset or a particular way of doing things or of seeing the world or of functioning, if we're not doing it with an eye towards shared purpose, then we're doing it wrong. Okay? We're just doing it wrong, and we're basically contributing to the isms of life. When you can't just simply offer something with no expectation of any reward, there's something inside you that's not being allowed to get out. Given that this is a 7 energy today, that's what we're trying to do. When we express ourselves into form, we do so as spirit, but we forget that we're spirit, and we just function as the ego or the personality or what have you. We go around and we react to everything. We judge and we decide, oh, you're the enemy, and okay, you're my friend, but maybe you're just my friend because you're giving me something. I knew these guys that they go back to the motorcycle event on the East Coast, and they don't want to go with this other guy, right? Because they don't like him. He's a pain, total pain. I mean, I know the guy. Well, it's the same guy that damaged my finger. He shook my hand and he crushed it, and he damaged my finger when my RA was active, and so I have basically permanently deformed. See, he did that. So I get why they don't like him, right? I mean, I get it. I don't like him either. So, well, if you hurt me, I'm not going to like you. It's really simple, Anyhow, but he bought a trailer. So they all stuck their motorcycles in the trailer, right? And suddenly he was their good buddy. So that's just an example of something that was a random act of kindness, except that it wasn't. It was purposeful. And the people who accepted it was like, oh yeah, let's take advantage. We don't like this guy, but he's got a trailer. So yeah, I don't think that it really was the spirit of the Six of Pentacles that was really in play during that time. But when I heard about it and I heard how this was all happening, I'm just like, okay, I see what's going on here. So shallow people that you are. Anyhow, well, I think that that's an interesting thing here. We've it just reminds me of the transition between last year and this year, in terms of the energy of it, where we're learning things about what's been going on and the truth of everything, about our election being hacked and influenced and what have you. However much of that was actually happening, on the voter machines, I don't know. Lots of different issues with the counts that don't make any sense. So it's likely there was some tampering going on as well. But the Republicans, of course, don't want to talk about that because it's their guy who won. And again, it's like the folks with who didn't want to go with that guy to the motorcycle event back east. Second he got a trailer, all of a sudden, well then, okay, we'll go. You can come with us because we're gonna use you. So there's just that feeling of nobody's going in the same direction. There's just none of that now, and everyone sees everyone else as the enemy. It's the weirdest feeling to drive through our town. I mean, our town isn't all that big, and just to drive through it, is weird now. The energy is weird. People are much more aggressive when they drive. To go into a grocery store is odd at times. We try to pick times where there's not that many people in there. So we go real early or we go late if we can, because it's just, I don't know, the energy is just off. People seem to be suspicious of one another. People seem just kind of at each other's throats. The energy just isn't right. And I think that when you have to come to terms with stuff that is unpleasant to think about, when you have to maybe rethink what you thought was real, and maybe now you're discovering, oh geez, that actually wasn't any, none of it was true, and I voted for this guy and I thought these things would happen and they're not. We all take that risk in an election though, don't we? I mean, it's just what happens, but you have to be willing at some point, if you made the wrong choice, if the person you voted for conned everybody, which is what he did, then if you made the wrong choice, then make the right one. Be the magician in your life and make a different choice, manifest something new, allow, use the Hagalah's energy to break things down, whether it's your own perceptions or the choices you make or what have you. Break all of that down and take another look at it, reevaluate it, maybe chart a new path. One that's more conclusive, more where you're more inclined to a shared purpose with others. It doesn't mean they have to go around and hand out money to people. That's not what I'm saying, and that's not what the Six of Pentacles is. But you understand that we have a shared and common purpose with one another, and that we don't need to fear little babies on the border just trying to, survive, and their families. So anyhow, I guess that's it for today. It's a stressful time, and I think that part of tarot and part of runes, part of any of the divination methods that we look at, astrology, any of it, excuse me, all we're doing is trying to maybe get a little more information on how we can be happy, and just live a better life. But that involves our interactions with others. We don't do that in a vacuum. And right now, these lines that are being drawn between us are artificial, and they are dependent upon a small group of people and their belief structure. I mean, think about it. It's a small group of people that are influencing the outcome of a country and possibly the world. A small little ideology that has festered and festered and festered to the point that it's just not going to go away until we all decide that it must. It's never going to take us where we need it to go. So think about it, think about who we are. Are we the country that turns a blind eye to young girls who are trafficked, who are raped? Are we a country that turns a blind eye to suffering? Do we cage children? Do we disappear them from their families? Is that who we are? I don't think so. So I think that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the birth pangs of who we are coming forth. People rising up, people standing up, people going out and taking to the streets and saying no more. Humanity is that important to stand up for, because that's what we're trying to do here. So embrace your inner witch. Embrace your inner Hagalaz. Tear apart what no longer serves. Tear apart what never should have been there. And bring forth the peace within. And extend that to others in your life. See the other side of self instead of the other. Know it. Believe it, because it's the truth. Well, that's it for today. So, go outside, even if you can't see the moon, she's there. Trust me. And raise your arms in supplication. Draw down her energies and bless all. And I mean all. Even those struggling with all the isms. Maybe even particularly them. So, anyhow, we'll see you tomorrow. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.